Alright guys, in this video I'm going to walk you through the steps on turning a regular photo into something that looks more like an illustration with a little bit of a color pop to it. You can see in this photo right here I took while I was in Center City, Philadelphia. I basically turned it into a black and white image using different things like black and white right here. You can see I added levels to increase the contrast and brightness and contrast to make it even more contrasty from there. And then I added different things in color. You can see I made City Hall itself that light blue, and then I have the part of the clock being yellow. And all of these files I could always go back in and edit. For example, if I wanted to change that from yellow to orange to green to blue, right? Any color that I wanted, and just hit OK. But here's another example. This photo I actually took from online, and I just did the same thing to it. Made it black and white, changed the levels to increase the contrast. The idea is to make it look like one of those old school photocopies, right? Something that's gonna look very contrasted. You're gonna lose part of the details, but hopefully you don't lose that much of it. And then you put a little bit of color. And again, all of these are things that you can edit. So what I'm gonna do is take you guys through those steps, all right? First thing is you have to open up your image. Now, for some of you guys, you might have images with people in it. That might be great. For mine, I don't have any people in mind, but I opened up this image, and the first thing I'm gonna do, I'm gonna come in here to the half and half cookie at the bottom. It looks like a half and half circle, half black, half white. Click on there. We're gonna use that a lot today, by the way. And then do black and white. Now, when you do it in black and white, you can see like part of it. I mean, you can't hardly see the clouds. I see a little bit right there. So I could change things. I could change the magenta. That's not really changing much. Change the blue. This is going to change a lot. Yeah, maybe right there. I'm trying to get as much of the detail in there as possible and have the contrast go up. So this one, yes. Makes that darker, leaves that light. Green is not doing much except for the clock itself. I think that's good. I don't want that darker. And I don't want that. So right in the middle. All right. That's my section for black and white. You can see it's something that you could always go back into and still edit. The next thing is I'm going to click on the half and half circle again. This time I'm going to do levels. And what levels is, it gives you this little histogram right here, or at least like a little like chart of what is dark, which these are the dark parts. What is light? You can see there's hardly any light up until this section right here, which is closer to the middle tone. So the light, the dark and the mid-tone. I can move this around to increase the contrast. So let's see. Yeah, I could turn it completely like this, make it completely like that. And actually this, I definitely want to bring in here because there's no information right there. Yeah, maybe something like this. And then the last one, half and half cookie, brightness and contrast. I'm going to bring the contrast all the way up, bring the brightness up and see what that does. Maybe a little bit less of the contrast. A little bit less in here. That looks good. Now, each one of your photos is going to be different, but for mine, this is what worked. And I could always go back. Now that I have the brightness and contrast, the levels, I could come into the levels and say, you know what, now that I have the brightness and contrast and all that, maybe I want this. Maybe I want that. But I think that's pretty good. And again, even after you add color, you could change it. All right, the next thing is you want to select your section to add color to. You could do this multiple ways, right? For me, I'm going to come in here. I'm going to use the pen tool, actually, for the clock. Pen tool. If you've never used these tools before, there's the pen tool, there's the polygonal lasso tool, there's the quick selection tool, there's a refine edge tool. Depending on what you're cutting out and clipping out, there's a tool for that. Right? But for me, clock is a circle, so I could come up here with the pen tool, click and drag. Start that part up. Click and drag right here. Click and drag right there. Here, click and drag. And then the last one should just be click. There it is. Now to actually clip that out, you click right here on the word paths. On your layers palette, you hold control. Actually, I'm sorry, you hold command and you click on the actual work path and it gives you the marching ants. Now with those marching ants, I could come over here to my layers palette. I want to click all the way at the top and I'm going to do the half and half cookie, solid color. This time I'm going to go with, let me see, crazy pink. All right, hit OK. And now you want to change the blend mode. Instead of normal, multiply. Multiply seems to work for almost all of them. And you can see it looks like it's been colored in. Now, the second thing, because you don't want this to be too, how would I say this? You don't want this to seem like a color photo that is just a color photo. Like, you do want to keep some of the black and white. So I would say 1 to 2 things to color in. As you can see in my example here, I colored in the City Hall part itself. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to click right here. I am going to go with the polygon and lasso tool this time. And actually, you know what? I'm going to hide these so that I can see exactly where I'm clicking. Zoom in a whole lot, Command plus, hit space, or hold space bar, click and drag so you can move around your piece. And there you go. Now, I'm not going to bore you through the whole part, so I'm going to go and do this a little bit quicker. Right? And I kind of took a little bit more time on the other one. Let me actually see if I could just grab that. But anyway, the polygon lasso tool, you click all the way around, right? Go around the whole thing, something like this, something like that, right? I'm not taking my time because I know this is a tutorial and you guys know how to use the polygon and lasso tool. If for some reason you don't, there is a video that I've already recorded with that on there. You do want to grab everything on there. Like I said, I'm not doing a good job doing this for speed right now. Remember, try not to double click if you're using the polygon and lasso tool. Boop. Boop. If you double click, it is going to close your path. Here, and then you just have to close it out. Notice that when you get back to the beginning, it says, hey, you've gone full circle. Click here, you'll get your marching ants. Bam, marching ants. Same thing, click at the top. Half and half cookie, solid color. Now, by the way, there's other things you could do there. You could see you could do a gradient as well. I'm not gonna do a gradient, but yeah, I did this in green. Let me bring these back. There you go, and instead of normal, my blend mode, I'm gonna make multiply. Notice that my green is interfering with the pink and making it blue. If I wanted that same circle cut out, I could hold Command to get the marching ants around that, right? So I held Command and clicked right here on the color fill for the clock, and then I could click in here, and then I could go to Edit Fill with black. There you go, and now I can see it. So again, you could go back in and you could change any of these things, right? Any of these things. I could change this color to be yellow. I could make it orange. I could click OK and then change this to be red. Or I could change it to be light blue, right? You could change it to whatever color you want. If I wanted to do the other part, which I don't actually, I'm not even gonna do that, but brightness and contrast, you can see right here, I could change that and say, oh, you know what? Now that I see the color, let me add more of this or take out some of that, right? And that's it. That's how you create a photo, how you convert a photo into something that looks more like an illustration with a little bit of color pop. I hope that helps. Enjoy.